So obviously there's misery after misery after misery in the papers, in the press, everywhere you look about Labour's first year. In fact, the only people that aren't hearing the misery are Labour themselves, Keir Starmer mainly, and Rachel Reeves, although she did look quite miserable, didn't she? But we're not allowed to say that. Personal matter. By the way, please do keep liking, subscribing and sharing. We're nearly on 32,000. How did that happen? It's awesome. And keep your comments coming. I love reading them. And I love that you're highlighting issues that are so important to you as well. We've got to keep talking about this stuff. So the fact that Labour have gone against more or less everything that they said they weren't going to do is astounding. But one of the things that is really, really astounding is their manifesto pledge on education. Now, they said they were going to employ 6,500 new teachers. They've just gone back on that. So they've gone back on the thing that they promised to get votes. So the manifesto pledge, as we all know, is where they tell us what they're going to do. They pledge they're going to do it, and they do it because that's how they got the votes. But they've gone back on it. So they're not getting 6,500 teachers. They can't get 6,500 teachers. I don't think they can get 6 teachers at the minute. But they've gone back on it in every which way and how. They've said that the numbers they've gone back on. They've also said that they're now just for schools and colleges. And they've also said that they're not going to be new teachers. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that they massively underestimated how many kids would leave the independent sector and how many independent schools would close. So school closure is up 67% since last year. Now, again, I often say this, whether you agree with independent education or you don't agree with independent education, you cannot deny that you've been lied to. You cannot deny that the pledge that was made by the Labour government to raise money from VAT on education to then go back into education has been a barefaced lie. The reason for this is that Keir Starmer has openly said that the money that's coming out of VAT on education is now going into social housing. So if you know somebody who has lost their education because their parents understandably can't afford the VAT, or if you know a teacher that's been made redundant because schools are having to cut costs, if you know schools that are closing, that money is not going, that's all been for social housing, not for education. So Bridget Phillipson has wantonly, on her watch, closed 67% more schools. Now then we get to the breakfasts, and there was mass controversy over the breakfasts, and I got a lot of flack for saying we don't need them. I got a lot of people with their one-liner of, I can't believe you're denying children a free breakfast. I'm not. I never was. I never said that. What I said was there are charitable organisations that do the free breakfast clubs that are actually free. Okay, so the charities provide the free breakfast, Magic Breakfast, Kellogg's, and it was working really well and they had a good uptake. And then Labour asked them to step away and they came in and did the state-run breakfast club, and it wasn't free, it was paid for by the taxpayer. So whether you wanted it or not, whether the child wanted it or not, it was for every child in the UK a free breakfast at school. Well, only year 7 or year 3 upwards. But they would get a free breakfast at school, whether they wanted it or whether they didn't want it. Now, there was a massive uproar about the fact that it was 60 pence a child. What can you get for that? Then there was massive uproar because kids were having 2 breakfasts because they were having their breakfast at home. Then there was massive uproar because the timings of the breakfast weren't the same as the ones with the charitable breakfasts. Then there was a massive uproar because the schools were saying, well, hang on a minute, we're not going to sign up to this because this is going to cost us money. We've got to take it out of our budget. We don't want it. We don't need it. So there was uproar all over. But Bridget tried to tell you that it was a good thing. Stephen Morgan tried to tell you it was a good thing. We were nourishing children. We're not nourishing children. We're giving kids crap breakfasts that don't need it. And we're taking away free school meals from children that do need it in the process of doing so that we can budget for this. So that's all happening. Then today we're having kids need to be ready for school from 4 years old. Some children can't sit still. So we need them school ready at 4. And I'm like, are you having a laugh? You're actually joking. Some kids can't sit still. Well, at 4, why should they be sitting still? They should be outside digging up worms, playing with their friends, painting, they should not be being made to sit still. Do we not think that maybe school ready is the wrong way round? We're trying to make a square peg fit a round hole. Why aren't we saying let's have them at school at 6? When they are ready? And instead of this massive drive to get parents back into work, why don't we support parents? Why don't we enable parents to parent instead of the state parenting. I mean, call me old fashioned, but I thought the whole point of having children was so that you could be a parent, not that you could hand it over at 9 months to a state run nursery. But that's what Labour wants. And Labour wants that because they were all, we look at our front bench, they've all been members of the Labour Party since day dot. It's been an indoctrination. Their family, their parents were staunch Labour supporters and members of the Labour Party, and they all were from the word go. It may be their experience that you have to sit still and behave at the age of 4, but it's not the majority experience. So then we've got that going on, and how, Bridget Phillipson saying some kids aren't toilet trained at 4. Just get over yourself, Bridget. Let's just focus on the things that actually matter. Stop trying to wheedle your way into everybody's lives. Let parents parent. So this is all going on, and at first, I used to get, as we said, a lot of flack, but more and more parents from every single sector are now saying this is outrageous. And what's more important is more and more kids are saying this is outrageous. Now, I've publicly given Rachel D'Souza, who is the Children's Commissioner, a lot of slack. Because where is she? Flack, not slack. Where is she? Where is she advocating for our children who are saying this isn't right, this isn't fair? Where is she advocating for the kids that are being turned away from having hospital treatment because they go to an independent school? Where is she advocating for the kids in state school who are now getting less special educational needs attention because they've got more kids coming into it? Where is she on saying, oh my God, hang on a minute, they're going to get rid of EHCPs? You can't do that. What is she doing? What is Rachel D'Souza doing? And I know that loads of kids have tried to contact her and have tried to email her and not heard anything. So I think this needs rethinking, and the way that you need to contact her is through the Children's Commissioner website. Don't email, it won't get there. Don't write a letter, it won't get there. They need you to go through their website. And I suggest that every child who is being negatively affected by this gets in touch with the website. The website will probably crash within about 5 minutes, but do it. There's a contact page. I'm going to link it to this video. Just click on the little black buttony thing that comes up that says, I'll put click here for Children's Commissioner. Click on that and it will take you to the contacts page where you can, as a child, share how this is affecting you and your family. Tell her what your worries are. Tell her what your fears about what she's doing. Well, not what she's doing, what Bridget Phillipson is doing to education. If you've got a little one, ask them to tell you and you can type it for them. You get them to tell you what they're worried about. We've got to have someone advocating for kids. We cannot have Bridget Phillipson just wielding her axe over education wherever she likes it, to all of our detriment, to kids in state schools, in grammar schools, in selective schools, in faith schools, in single-sex schools, in independent schools, in vocational schools. All of these are being hit hard by Bridget Phillipson and a few of her cronies because they're trying to rewrite their own history. There is less investment in education now than there was in 2014. There are less teachers, there is less recruitment, there is less retention, there are less subjects. Things are being axed left, right and centre. The curriculum is changing to it will look nothing like the curriculum of 18 months ago if she has her way. Every aspect of education, homeschooling, parents' rights, parents' choice, children's rights, all being blown up by Bridget Phillipson. So kids, if it matters to you, have your say, and it should matter to you. Why should you stand for this? Why should you put up with this? Why should your education, we've all had ours, why should yours be on the chopping block? So click on the link, get in touch with Rachel D'Souza and let's see what happens. Let's see what responses you get. Let's see if Rachel is actually listening. I hope she is. I hope that I have to eat my words. I hope that I have to apologise to her and say, I'm really sorry, Rachel. You actually are listening to the kids. You actually are doing a good job. I'd love to talk to you, Rachel. If you're out there, I would love to have a conversation with you. But someone's got to start listening to these children and giving them the voice that they deserve. And more importantly, the voice that will change education, because it is them who it affects. It is their education. It is not Bridget Phillipson's education. It is the children's education. And we need to listen to them.